Howdy y'all, this is Stonehook in Orange, Texas. I'm back with this little old gravel preform I made last night. I really kind of wanted to make a Folsom out of it, but I don't know if it'll make it or not. I'm going to pressure flake it down and see what happens. But it's got this dang crack. It looks like it comes all the way there, so I'm going to wind up really having to shorten this thing up a bunch. I narrow it up a bunch. And when I get down here at the base, I got this big old broken off flakes right there. That's pretty deep right there, so I'm probably gonna wind up having to shorten the thing up about like that. And hopefully by the time I get all that off the edges down to that side, I'll have a decent convex contour. This is a pretty low place right in there, so I really don't want to run no flakes right there. That's as low as I want that side to be actually, but I got high spots all around it. This here's a little tricky too. It's a high spot with a little bitty broken off flake, so I don't know that I could pressure flake from this side and get past that. See my marker hanging on it. But this way I could. See, that's smooth, so I'm gonna try to hit that side from right there for sure. All this is gonna have to come that side. Other than that, this side ain't too bad. It's got one broken off looking flake right there, which really won't matter on a Folsom because that daggone flute will go right around that. If it's still there. But I hooked me up another light right over there by the camera so that I light this up. And I can't hardly look towards the camera, it's so bright. Anyways, I'm just going to start out by taking little short flakes and kind of get my edge strengthened up and a little convex contour started. Get rid of all this tip area up here. So none of these flakes right here, I'm pushing in on them at all. I'm just kind of pushing more straight down just to get a little bit of convexity built. Right there will go a little easier. That's that place where I need to get the high spot off. But instead of trying to attack it just yet, I'm gonna work that edge over a little bit, strengthen it up. That'll get me just a little bit closer before I try to get those flakes that I got to get. A really high spot right there close to that edge. I'm gonna have to be careful with. We'll go ahead and do this edge. Pretty much all that did was just it moved that edge over, but it made it thicker and stronger and give it a little bit of convexity going into the rock. Still got some pretty rough areas right there. I'm gonna go ahead and take some more of this tip off and get closer then, because that's just too much rock out there that I don't really need. Thick spot right there. That's where I need to push that flake on up there, so I'm gonna go ahead and enhance this platform a little bit right there. It's not really a platform, it's more of a bevel, like a continuous platform. I don't know if you can make out that little high spot right there. That's what I want to get pushed off of there. I'm going to take some more off this side of the tip. That's where I got to push them flakes across this side too, so I'm going to go ahead and enhance this bevel a little bit. About all I can do. That's a pretty big bevel, really. But these pretty good sized flakes right here too on this. Especially right there. I'm not seeing any more of that crack right there though. That's good. I like to take this little small flake, just to space them flakes out a little more in between the big ones. think I need to grind that just a little bit more. Kind of crumbly looking. They're working pretty good. They feathering out right along that line that I drew there in the low spot. So they're feathering out right to it. That's about the best I could ask for right there, I think. I'm really trying to push down. I got a high spot, which it pretty well got it right there, I think. I don't know if you can see that profile, but that's a nice. That turned out pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this side. Then I'll flip over and straighten out this side. We're gonna front down on them deltas a little bit. Just get my platform barely below center. Hit this a little bit. I really don't even hardly need flakes right there because that's just a low spot. So I'm gonna mainly flake right here and from here on up. That crumble. I was trying to push that over and clean up the rest of that little piece of flake that's broken off right there, but I really shouldn't have done that because all I did was break it off right there a little bit. But that ain't gonna matter if I flute it, because that flute will go right around them little flakes. Man, I just can't hardly press hard enough to get a flake on this darn rock. And he's just gonna be a little short. There'll be short flakes right across this low place. Now I'm gonna start pressing again. It's got a little bit of concavity there. I should have probably pressed them a little bit harder. That crumbled. That crumbled too. Little crumble spot right there. Other than that, it looks pretty good. It might have just a little bit of a dip in the middle of that where the flute's going to travel there. I may be able to straighten that up a little more on the tip before I actually slute it. Now we'll just take some little nipple flakes right along his edge just to move it over enough to flake this side. Crunch it lightly. I'll get the burr off this thing again. Put a lot of pressure on it. None of these really have to travel very far. That contour is pretty good, except a little high ridge right there. Other than that, if I could just run these close to the middle, a little bit of right there. But if these flakes just run close to the middle, that's all I need. Probably. That side went pretty good. If I can just do this side like that and get them to come right there about halfway, be in good shape. That turned out pretty good. It's a little thicker than a good Folsom Preform, I guess, but I kind of like thickness in my Folsom Preforms like that. At the Nibbles Bluff Napa in here a couple weeks ago, there was a lot of Folsom making going on, and They was making some really, really, really thin ones and really thin preforms. I never made them that thin. But I don't make them as nice as they do either. Old Buck Chaser, he just turning out preforms, look like a factory over there, turning out Folsom preforms. I'm just working this back enough I can get under. You can see it there, I still got that broken off flake right there. Grind that, I need to. I'm gonna try to push that first flake kind of just right down every little ridge right there to get rid of all of it that I can. Yeah, still left a lot of that little lip right there. That kind of got it. Boy, them edges just crumbled on me. I didn't even get a flake at all, hardly. I should have ground it more. That too. Yeah, I gotta quit that. Straighten that up a little bit. I got a little more curve on this side. I'm gonna take a little off back here, just get about the same kind of curve to it, I think. Yeah. That's about all I can do now. I'm gonna set up a nipple. My tail end is already beveled closer to this side, so I'm gonna flute this side first. It's the one that's got the little bit of a divot in it too. But I believe that flute will go around that and kind of wide. It'll travel under that. What happens though, if there's a high spot, the flute goes deeper, and then when it hits this low spot right here, the flute actually rises up. And then when it gets back down here where it's thick again, it'll want to go back down a little bit deeper again. It's funny how that works. That just seems opposite of what it would actually do, but let me bevel this in a little more. That looks pretty good. It's just, you can see the edge of that bevel. It's not quite in line with this side, but it's just a hair below center too. I really think it ain't quite close enough to this side. You can see that gap right there. I do need just another little more bevel on there. Get a little bit closer to this surface. It didn't come off smooth. Yeah, that's a lot better. You can see the, I don't know if that's a good way to show that or not, because anyway, it comes up and then it goes back down a little bit. So this platform, that edge just ain't quite all the way to the bottom, but it's below center line too. So now, I really need to do something with my tip here. It thing got too blunt. I'm gonna just sharpen it up. Put a point on it. I think I can handle it. I'm gonna grind that just a little bit. And I like to put a dot right in the middle, because if I don't put a dot right in the middle, I'll wind up my platform off center every time. That dot's off center a little bit. Right there. See them two little dots? That's right where my platform will be. So what I'm gonna do now is just take 2 or 3 flakes, like 1, 2, 3, getting a little bit deeper up on there each one, and kind of pressing out at an angle about like this. I'll do the same thing over here, just like 1, 2, 3, going up a little bit higher on the platform each flake. Run them out there like that. I ain't got it in the darn camera. That turned out pretty good. If I could do the other side like that, I'll be in good shape. I have a hard time doing the same thing on both sides of this rock though. That nerve just slipped. And it looks, it's not very symmetrical. It's about center though. This side that here didn't go quite as deep. That looks pretty good. It's a little bit square on this corner too, so I'm gonna take a one little flake, just enough to try to make that corner match a little better. I'm gonna put a real sharp point back on the end of the flaker. And I'm gonna just catch right in the corner, not all the way to the bottom corner, but just above it enough, right where I want that flute to release, and take the small flick and flip it over here on this side and do the same thing. Just now, I wish I could show that to you real well. I don't know. Let's see. That platform though, it's just kind of hollowed out right behind that nipple. Now I'm gonna take a grinder and just grind it off flat right there. I'll just use this grinder. And make sure it's square with the axis of the point. But this one ain't like that. That looks good enough. Then I'm gonna just hit these edges right back here at the back a little bit. And then this tip's a little bit fragile right there. So I'm gonna round it off just a little bit and kind of bevel it to where it's closer to this side, the side I'm gonna flute on. That way the flute will go to actually wherever that tip is. That's where that flute's gonna go to. So I kinda want it on this side of the rock. It's hard to see, but it's just slightly beveled closer to this side than that side. I'm gonna grind this tip off real kind of firm. I see a flake hanging down right there that I should have got off of there. Can't do it now though. Now, I typically flute these things in a jig, but I got this big idea to try something new tonight. I mean, I've done it indirect before, never really got a good Folsom flute right out the tip without a jig. Got this deer antler, just been cut off the skull with a little extra bone left there. That thing just hangs right over. Let me zoom out a little bit, cause I'm got more going on here now. Anyway, this antler just looped right over my leg, fits pretty snug. And I'm gonna seat this point right. Oop, that heat heavy. Hang on. I'm gonna seat this point right in that bone part right there. I don't want to mess up the antler. I could seat it up here, but I don't want to mess it up because I might do something with this antler one day. Anyway, that was my big idea to try, but I can already tell it's not really seating tight enough like I wanted it to. That's what I told it to be. I don't think it has to be all that solid though to flute this little point. Now I just got a 3/8 inch copper rod stuck in a piece of river cane with some thread to keep it from splitting, and some bigger thread back here that I grab under my knee. That's where my knee catches it, so it won't slide. But then I'm gonna get this thing lined up. How to get this point lined up exactly with this rod where everything is right directly in line. And I'm gonna hold this point right near the end too. Maybe like right there. Get all this lined up. Put my arm up on that antler. Think about fluting like this. Man, if you get that point just a little bit turned one way or the other, your flute's gonna be off one side. Even if you don't hit this copper directly in line, if you chop it one this way or back that way, that'll knock your flute off to one side. Now I'm gonna hit this thing with a big old piece of plastic. I got some antlers, but this just makes a harder, sharper hit. So I'm gonna seat that thing on there where I really got some hard pressure pressing into that antler. And I don't think it went very far. Dadgummit. Now, I should have seated up on there a little bit farther, because right now it got down into that concavity and it didn't come back up on the high spot right there. So that just didn't actually work. Dennis and them at the nap in, they'd set up, flute that thing another 2 or 3 times till they made it go all the way to the tip. Pretty much. I might try a second flute, but I'm typically just one fluter, depending on how it goes. This rock is so dang hard to flake, I forgot how hard it was to press flake. Right there, I'm just seating on that little delta on the side of that and pushing out towards the edge of the point. That just cleaned the bottom of that flute up real nice. Everything goes right. And then I'm gonna take one more little bit off of this side right there. Then we'll just take some bevel flakes and bevel it back to this side again. That's pretty good, but that's that little broken off flake right there. Makes it have a little bit of a concavity right there behind my flute, so that ain't gonna work. I'm gonna have to take another little pass of flakes just to get me a little bit of convexity built out onto the surface out there. Still got a little low plate right there, but I believe I can blow that flute past that and get this close enough to the nipple. A lot of that's gonna disappear on these setup flakes. So same thing I did a while ago. That's gonna be my platform right there in the middle. So I'm gonna start right here. Take like a row of 3 flakes, stepping up deeper up on there each time and pushing them out like that. Same thing over here, just bam, bam, Bam. Pushing them out at an angle about like this. That flake, none of them flakes actually went out that way. They all went straight down the point kind of, which is no good because I'm almost killed my platform right there. If it went on out this way, it would give me more meat. That side went a little bit better. Probably kind of hard to see that, but this side did better than this side. This side's almost got a little point sticking out right here. But same thing, I got a little deeper on that side than I did on this side. Gonna make me a real sharp point again. I'm taking a little release flake. I'm not even real sure these release flakes are real necessary when you're doing this indirect. When you do this with indirect. Yeah, I'm probably going to find a different grindstone and get down that little curve. Something like this one here is wore out grindstone I can get right there in between them ears. Just grind it down pretty heavy. And tip, I'm just going to leave the tip like it is. It's kind of beveled to the wrong side, but I don't look for this flute to go all the way. Somehow it just tells me, something just tells me it ain't going to go all the way. Indirect. I start pressing on that thing with a leg and just try to get a pretty massive, pretty good amount of pressure pressed in on that thing right there. Darn, that didn't go very far at all. It ended right there. So the Folsom didn't work. It's more like a little Clovis or something. Well, I'm gonna just call that doing. I failed at getting good flutes on it, but it was fun. I'm gonna get a bigger rock to work with now. I'll be back.